This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 2 of Poker Strategy, Think in Probabilities, where we're diving into how your gut feelings and mathematical thinking can actually work together instead of against each other. We'll explore how the best players blend cold, hard numbers with those mysterious hunches that seem to come out of nowhere. Let's get into it. A poker pro can glance at a messy board, act in under half a minute, and still make the mathematically correct play. In this episode, we drop into that decision moment, where cold probability clashes with a warm gut feeling, and ask, which voice should you trust? Most players secretly pick a side. They either worship the math, or they chase that tingle of, this doesn't feel right. The quiet truth is that strong decisions rarely come from one or the other in isolation, but from how quickly you can make them talk to each other in real time. A seasoned grinder doesn't pause the hand to run a full calculation. They lean on the patterns their brain's been stockpiling for years, then use quick odds checks as a reality filter. When those two disagree, when the numbers say call, but your experience screams fold, that conflict is where your real edge is hiding. In this episode, we'll explore how to build a simple, repeatable habit. Let your intuition act first, then have probability cross-examine it, like a sharp co-counsel in a high-stakes trial. Over time, the goal isn't to silence one voice, but to train them to converge. Some of your sharpest reads come not from a single big clue, but from a quiet stack of tiny signals. A bet size that's a little off, a timing twitch, a line that doesn't match the story. Your brain stores all of this in the background, like a massive, messy notebook of past hands. When a new spot pops up, that notebook flips open on its own, long before you finish counting outs or estimating ranges. Rather than fighting this, you can learn to surface it on command. Pause for a beat, name what your fast side is whispering, then see how often a quick odds check backs it up or calls it out. Think of this section as upgrading how you use what you already know, not relearning it. The key shift is to separate when you rely on fast pattern recognition from when you demand hard numbers. Start with hand category. There are spots where your subconscious database is rich and spots where it's thin. High-volume patterns, multi-way limped pots, standard C-bet spots, single-raised pots in position. You've seen thousands of these. Here, let your fast read lead and use a minimal math check, basic equity or pot odds sanity, to make sure you're not drifting into fantasy. Low-volume patterns, 4-bet pots, weird overbets, river check raises for stacks. Your stored patterns are sparse and biased. In those nodes, flip the priority, run the numbers first, then ask your fast side if anything strongly contradicts them. Next, anchor your co-counsel into clear, pre-declared thresholds instead of vague feelings. For example, I only continue draws on the turn if I'm getting at least 4-1 unless my opponent is wildly spewy. Versus tight players, I don't stack off one pair on the river after big turn and river action unless I can name at least 2 realistic bluffs. Now your fast pattern recognition has something solid to argue against. If it pushes you to break a rule, force yourself to state why in concrete terms. His value range is capped. His sizing screams merge. He's been overbluffing missed draws. Vague justifications don't beat written rules. Use board texture to decide how much weight to give your fast side. On dry, static boards, ranges are narrow and easier to model. Lean heavier on calculations. On dynamic, changing boards, humans misjudge future card impacts. Here, your fast side often remembers how runouts warp aggression frequencies better than your in-the-moment estimates. Finally, observe how top players talk through hands. They rarely say only, the math says, or only, it felt like. They toggle. Range talk, price talk, then history, then back to combos. That back and forth is what you're trying to compress into a few seconds in real time, until both voices start pointing to the same play more often than not. Think of a tough river spot where you're facing a pot-sized bet with a medium-strength hand. Instead of auto-folding or hero calling, you can treat it like standing in the batter's box against a fastball you've seen 1,000 times. Your eyes track the pitch before your brain names the speed. In poker, your first pitch read might be, "This line feels off for value." Don't stop there. Tack on one concrete detail. His big hands usually bet smaller on the turn. Now bring in a quick price check. Pot-size bet means you need to be right about 1/3 of the time. Ask, "Given what I've seen, does it clear that bar?" Over time, you'll notice patterns. Certain opponents whose fastball is always straight, value heavy, others who mix in wild junk. Some boards where your early read is usually right, others where you keep getting burned. The goal isn't to win every spot, but to keep tightening the feedback loop between that first swing and the numbers that tell you whether you should have taken it. Neuroscientists are starting to map which brain states precede strong reads that later prove accurate. As wearable tech gets subtler, you may review hands alongside your own biometrics, spotting moments where calm pattern recognition quietly overruled spike-driven impulses. In high-stakes fields, teams will rehearse rare crises the way athletes drill set plays, so that when reality breaks the script, their second nature already speaks the language of structured risk. Over time, this blend of fast reads and quick checks stops feeling like a tug-of-war and more like a jazz duo trading riffs. You'll still misplay spots, but each review becomes fuel, tagging hands, noting which streets you mispriced, which stories you misread. Gradually, your hunches turn from guesswork into compressed pattern summaries you can trust under pressure. Before next week, ask yourself, looking at one decision I'm facing right now, like that career move, investment, or health choice, what are the rough probabilities for the main outcomes? And where exactly am I just going with my gut without any numbers? If I had to place an actual bet on this decision, what odds would feel fair to me, and what real-world information could I quickly gather today? A data point, a past result, a simple calculation, to adjust those odds. When my intuition disagrees with the numbers I've sketched out, what specific past experience or pattern is my gut drawing on? And is that experience really similar to this situation? Or am I letting a vivid memory overpower the base rates? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!